Now I'd like to invite Priya Graduation up to give our commencement address.
Now, before I begin, I wanted to say thank you to a few groups that have continuously stood by the class of 2025. To our parents, guardians, and extended families, thank you for your endless care and support in us, especially when we weren't sure of our belief in ourselves. To every teacher, coach, and mentor, thank you for reminding us that growth isn't linear, that getting a 95 isn't everything, and that a hallway conversation can change a life. To the security guards who greet us every morning, the faculty who keep our classrooms running, and the maintenance crew who return the LC to its natural state every night, thank you. Thank you for upholding our space, even when we didn't think about it ourselves. And finally, thank you to my classmates on the stage. It's been an honor to move from learning everyone's name to going beside you. Together, we've all taken turns sitting on the senior bench, and each one of us recently inscribed our names across the wood, even though we knew it would be wiped clean in just a few months. But that's kind of the point, isn't it? We didn't sign to be remembered. We signed to mark that we were there, that we contributed to something, that we moved through DA together, and it moved through us. I've thought a lot about that process of naming, how our many fleeting moments are tied to the word we call our own. So the senior bench wasn't special because it lasts. It's special because we chose to make it matter anyway. Soon, new names will layer over ours. New stories will be told. But throughout my time at DA, the moment that stuck with me the most happened in a room tucked inside Upper STEM, Mr. Clough's classroom, a space decorated with Dante's Inferno and Greek mythology murals. Yet, in the middle of all that chaos, Mr. Clough asked us to do something that felt simple. Say your name and tell your story. There were no external pressures or limitations. Just speak about what you think matters, and that's what we did. In my speech, I plan to tell Mr. Clough and many of my fellow classmates on this stage that names matter, that each one carries many stories, and that speaking a name in a space can change how someone feels in it. I'm Priya, an Indian American whose name means love, representing the ingrained understanding that shapes what I become. But it was not the content of my name that mattered the most. It was the form of this recognition that framed how I viewed everyone else's narrative. I remember sitting there and realizing how little I'd known about the people I'd pass, say hi, or wave at in the hallway every day for years. Did I know nothing more than a name? One of the speeches I remember most came from a classmate who approved me talking about this, by the way. He talked about his relationship with his family back home and what he learned from his lineage. We don't get to choose the stories we inherit, he said, but we do get to choose the ones we pass on. That line, among many of the others told by my classmates, keeps returning to me. And that is the hidden power of naming. When I think about my family, and shout out to my grandparents for being here, I think about the stories I carry and also the ones I haven't told yet. Those stories we tell deeply shape how I understand my classmates too. There's so much more depth than we often recognize. We often think we know each other just by sitting beside one another in assemblies or advisory. But it's only when someone speaks, in a classroom, on a walk, or over lunch, that you realize how much history, joy, and resilience sits beside you every day. And that is the gift of the speeches we were giving. They let us understand the stories behind the names, and many of us have learned that here. To me, it's sort of strange though, isn't it? That a school thought of for its rigor, enshrining moral, happy productiveness among its 3 core values, was a place I really learned how to tell my story. But while it was learned at DA, it wasn't only learned in Mr. Clough's classroom. I learned it from Erin Lee, who comforted me when I was needlessly stressed out during freshman year. From national chess champion Asha Kumar, who didn't just bring back trophies, but showed me how to lead with empathy in every facet of my life. From Emery, Ali, Evan, and PJ, whose track records consistently keep raising the bar for our future. From Oliver Guan, who never hesitates to walk me through a biology question, though I should probably already know the answer. From Catherine Hong, whose words reach far beyond Durham, is an internationally awarded writer. From Ori Moore, with wide-ranging musical abilities that all of us have seen on the Keenan stage. And obviously, not in the class of 2025, but who could forget Miss Swain, who everyone says they're going to for college advice, but always leaves with a piece of candy. And I may have gone there every single day this year. These are just a few names and just a few stories. And while I can't cover every person in our class, every one of us carries our own. Some of us speak multiple languages, and we all have big aspirations. So when we dig past the surface of someone's name, when we listen to their story, we truly start to understand each other. Here, I can't help but think back to another moment in Mr. Clough's class. Reading Toni Morrison's historiographical fiction, A Mercy, we learned that one's name can be intimately tied to their past. Sometimes the most important thing is the attempt, to write, to speak, to reach towards meaning, even when you don't have every answer. The novel's main focus, a girl named Florence, writes her message to the blacksmith to become, not just to be heard. And in a way, so have we. That is what I see in our class, and what I know we will carry. Names, just like the stories or baggage that they carry, are not axiomatic. They too can be shaped. That's why I think the most important name is not necessarily the one you were given. It's the one you will and have grown into. It's the name you tell to a new friend you meet in college, maybe pronounced a little differently this time. It's what you choose entirely because the old one didn't feel right. College itself often creates a similar process of name changing. We officially become doctors, judges, senators, professors, but embody much more when given informal nicknames and abbreviations. And just as college literally shapes our names, our future shapes the stories behind our names as well. So as I move to the end of this speech, I think it's important to focus on that, on the ways we can iterate our impact on the world as remembered by our name. Thus, I have 3 recommendations for the future of our class. First, recognize the literal lasting print you will have on your future communities. Wherever we spend the next 4 to 8 years absorbing more about the world, the actions we take will remain beyond us. The name we put on every assignment, every research paper, every news article, all the code we create and tag, any Instagram post or artwork that we sign, and many of the other actions we take, we will directly both imprint the meaning behind our names and shape how our names are imprinted on the world. In fact, on this very stage, some of our names may be printed on the program when performing here over the next 4 years. Second, think about who you want to become. While our time at DA converged together, each of our lives after high school will surely be uncertain. I don't know who I'll become, but I know the names of many whom I strive to be like. I want to bring out authenticity like Mr. Clough, help others find their voice like my debate coach Jacob Palmer, motivate others to look at life's mathematical intricacies like Dr. Schillis in statistics, and just be willing to give a helping hand like my brother Sachin, and be like many other people who have many other inspiring stories I've grown from this far. And I think we should all search for more mentors and peers, professors and friends, a future community similar to DA with whom we can work with to shape the legacy we want our names to carry. Third and finally, fight to be the best version of yourself. We won't be remembered for our grades or the names on our senior bench, but we might be remembered for the people we helped feel less alone, for the stories we passed on, for the names we spoke out loud and chose to learn more about. And even if no one recalls everything that we said, hopefully they'll feel empowered enough to find the meaning behind their own names and fight for the future. For our lives will continue to change. Our names will continue to develop in every sense. And the names of others, those that we interact with, will be carried by our stories. Thank you.